She was in nursing school. She's got a phlebotomy license. She's really, she nerds out on physiology and things like
It's
this.
cool.
So for
It's cool.
me, I was having a problem taking my pain meds. I don't take pharma meds. I take Aleve and Advil dual strength. And one day I overdosed on them because I was in so much pain. I'm like, I just wasn't sure. And I accidentally took too much. And I got a bad stomachache and felt like crap. So Sherry taught me, we went through what I was using. She looked up all the meds, looked at exactly what I was taking. And she told me what to take and how to take it and when to take it. And it's made all the difference. And so now I feel I feel safe when I'm taking it because she said 1 Aleve, 2 dual strength Advils. And actually what's happened now is that now I don't really even need them every day or like twice a day. I'm not taking them twice a day. And I do still forget to take them and I'll be like kind of cranky and not functioning well. But
I have an idea for you. Oh, sorry.
But I'll get this like low level irritability and I'm in pain and I don't really recognize it. It's that poor interoception. And then when I remember to take them, I don't take too much, which was what I was doing before. So I want to turn the floor over to Sherry so she can help explain, number one, why is it neurodivergent people seem to have trouble with understanding what's going on in their bodies? Why do I have so much trouble understanding dosages? And if you can just sort of touch on these topics. Sherry's not a doctor. She's not,
I'm not a nurse.
Physician. She just nerds out on this stuff and has helped me a lot. So that's what she's going to do. And if this helps you, and if you're new to this, subscribe, go over to Sherry's channel, subscribe, share all that stuff. But drop your questions about this topic in the comments if you would like her to address anything for you. Again, she's not a professional. She's not a doctor, but she is.
And I'm not a nurse.
Very knowledgeable in this area.
In some ways,
so Sherry, by all means, go right
ahead. What I want to do, there's a reason if somebody is not a pharmacist, like I happen to work in a retail pharmacy environment and they have rules. Now I want to explain how this affects to me now here. So Genevieve might be like, why do you keep saying you're not an expert? There are legal reasons and important reasons that if I say this might help you, I can't give you advice on what medicine to take. And there's a reason for that. Some medicines interact with other medicines, and it is super important if you want to take a new medicine, if it's an herb, if it's an aspirin, if it's whatever, just check with your doctor, check with a nurse, check with a pharmacist at your local pharmacy. You can go any local pharmacy, there's the line where you go to pick up your prescriptions and pay. And there's also the drop-off line where if you were handing them a script. But there's this little area where you can go and wait and ask the pharmacist questions. Now, anybody can do that. You don't have to be filling a script. They'll answer any questions or stuff that's on the floor. So yeah, if let's say somebody is taking ginkgo or ginseng or any kind of those NSAID class medicines, got blood.
NSAID.
Oh, sorry, NSAID. It's like it basically is like, I forget what it stands for. It's like anti-inflammatory. So what is good to know, and you don't have to know pharmacology, and there's a lot I forget, to be honest. I'm very rusty. But they have what they call classes of medicine. You know how when you and I were talking, Genevieve, and I'm like, what are you taking? And I'm like, oh, you can't take them together. They're the same. And you're like, they're not the same. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot that I was taught this, but other people aren't taught this. So if you have things that fall into the same category, they're kind of basically what that means is, even though when you see on the label, something says Aleve and it has its own chemical name for it, or you see Advil, or you see starts with a B. My brain's just shut off. Ibuprofen. So they sound like, they're all pain meds, but they're also, those particular ones, they're called NSAIDs, NSAID, like the word said, but N in front of it. I can look it up, but I'm using my phone.
Well, so can people. Hi, Mana. Okay, good. Okay, great.
If you are taking a medicine in a specific class, and then you go to take another pain med and it's in the same class, it's basically overdosing. They're like different versions of the same medicine.
So let's say we're talking about Aleve is naproxen, and then we've
Yep.
got
NSAID.
ibuprofen and
NSAID.
acetaminophen, right? Are those all NSAIDs?
I think that Tylenol is the only thing that's not. They're all
Okay.
NSAIDs. Pretty much when you go to the pharmacy, most of those pain medicines are anti-inflammatory. Yeah, anti-inflammatory, non-steroidal. Yes, N, non, S, steroidal, A,
That makes
anti-inflammatory.
sense.
So
Okay,
they're
so the NSAIDs are anti-inflammatories, and then
non-steroidal.
acetaminophen, what's that?
That's Tylenol. It's its own thing. The thing that's cool,
What does it
and
do?
it works differently. So when you take an anti-inflammatory, non-steroidal NSAID, I'm like mixing up the order. Basically, it will help with the inflammation response. The tightness. You know, when you pull your back, that tightness, the inflammation of it being hurt, your body sends the blood there and it tightens up because it's trying to protect itself. So anti-inflammatory takes away the inflammation. The inflammatory also, let's say you get a cut and it starts, or you have an infection and it swells, that's inflammatory. So it will go and reduce inflammation. So that takes care of pain in a different way, whereas Tylenol, which is the name brand of the actual chemical called acetaminophen, works very differently. It doesn't go into your body and take the inflammation. It goes to the pain center in your brain and it shuts the signal off. So both of them, oh, you know what they do? They both do too? They're different classes, but even though they're both pain meds, they do both help with fever though.
Oh, fever reducer.
Yeah, sorry, Manna, I switch the letters around sometimes.
No, I do that too. Like the B is
I'm
so
like
prominent.
ibuprofen, and I was thinking, I forgot ibuprofen starts with an I. Sorry.
No, that's how my brain does it too.
Yeah, dyslexia runs in my family, and I often wonder if I don't know if you can have a touch of it, but yeah, my mom,
It's just
my
that
mom had a little
letter
bit.
of the B. I think we all
Yeah.
realize what you meant.
Yeah, she's right though. She's right though. So yeah, does that help you to understand? It's good to learn from a doctor when you start taking a medication if they prescribe it to you. Now these are basic medications we're talking about,
Right.
but still things that we think of as basic that we're familiar with, like Tylenol, aspirin. I actually had a friend when I was young, and I don't know if I told you about her, GeNeVeev. She was suicidal. She had schizophrenia, and she tried to take her life with aspirin. And
Oh my God.
aspirin won't kill you. It'll just your stomach will rupture. You'll just have internal bleeding. So yeah, you don't want to take too much of anything. But like you said, acetaminophen, aka Tylenol, that one is particularly important to only take as much as it says. And when you have a cold, if it's flu season and you're desperate, you're not thinking straight. You're sick, man. You got fever, your thoughts low, your energy, your body's using all that energy to make you better. It's putting all its energy into making all those antibodies to fight off. So you're feeling like shit and you're not thinking straight. It could be super easy to get the Vicks and this, that, and the other, and the NyQuil. And if you don't, just make sure that you're only taking acetaminophen in one of the cold medicines so that you don't have liver
Can you help me
issues.
understand? Is it the interoception or what is it that makes it? I feel like I'm more vulnerable than the normal population, than NTs, to taking dosages improperly and doing exactly what you just said. I mean,
Yeah,
what is that?
I think that might be the executive functioning. We get distracted by stuff, right? And it's another thing you have to worry about. And we're already trying to get our lives together, right? Like we're already being like, oh, you're dealing with trying to figure out what's the most important thing for you to do today, and you're overwhelmed with all of these worries. So taking the medicine is you just want to take it and be done with it. So that makes sense. If we're already like have a lot in our brain that we don't think about it,
I
especially
used to
if
do it though with my kids too. After a while, I realized that I needed someone else there to help me make sure I'm giving them the right dosage of cough medicine,
yes,
because I accidentally, I mean, nothing happened. They didn't have any symptoms, but I was
she's
aware I
lucky.
OD'd them on cough medicine because I just read it wrong.
Right.
I went from bottle to dosage spoon improperly, and I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute. What?
Take your
What did I just
time.
do?"
Just take your time. Take your
Yeah.
time.
And
If you
maybe
need a freaking
dyslexia has something to do with it
magnifier,
too.
they like make
Yeah.
it so hard now. Now it's like they have, you have to like peel the label off and you have to read this tiny writing, which is not helpful. I'm like, how am I going to get the directions? It's like, they're like layers of stickers and it's inside. And yeah, always read the warnings. I know you feel like you're reading a stereo equipment manual or something, or electronics. It's like, you're like, what is this? But always, and when you look at the directions, there'll be like a chart. So they'll say, and don't be embarrassed. It seems like, oh, I should have gotten this. But like I said, especially when you're not feeling good, you're not
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, that's
You're
true.
not being discerning. And we already are kind of like, so one thing that I know for neurodivergence is that our attention or our energy tank is lower. So our threshold to becoming tired is less, even if we're not stressed out. I learned that from Dr. Russell Barkley, who I like a lot now. I didn't like him at first, but he knows a lot. It's kind of funny is that I caught him in something that I didn't agree with him on, but that's okay.
No, I've
Because
had that same
he's an
thing
expert.
happen.
He actually, no,
Yeah, but.
wait. I will tell you why
Yeah.
I feel he's an expert. Because every week he is looking at the brand new research. So every single week he's doing a new post on his channel, and that's what he does.
Good.
Every single week he's looking at all the studies. So as soon as the study comes out, as soon as there's new information, he's reading it, and then he'll relay it to us.
The reason why I say that, where I like that, like, he's an expert, but is he on the spectrum? You can be a doctor all you want. You can read all the research you want. It doesn't make you
I
as much of an
don't
expert as someone who's actually living with it, and we need more medical professionals who are on the spectrum.
I agree with you, and then we might not always have the same point of view, and that's okay.
Yeah, totally.
We can still care about each other and not think it's okay. And the differing views are good.
Yeah.
Because the more points of view we have, the more we can learn, because we all go through things in a different way. And I know exactly why you're saying that.
And they
Because
need to recognize that we bring an element of expertise they never will. And we need to recognize that they bring a level of education and expertise
that we
from
might not have.
education that we won't. And so, but that, to acknowledge
We need
that is really all I'm
everybody.
saying. Yeah.
It's going to be hard for the type of neurotypical brain. It's not just any neurotypical brain. The type that wants to be the type of doctor, they just go in, they diagnose things, and they leave. They miss things, and I've seen it. And it's kind of funny. I think we need both. We can't be like, get rid of the doctors, because they go to school for a reason. They learn a lot of things that we don't know. And we think we can just look at Google and look at things, and then we think we're dying of some horrible disease. You don't ever diagnose yourself. You can with autism, because apparently we can't get diagnoses anywhere. But yeah, it's kind of hard as far as like going through any kind of diagnosis if you're sick or anything. It's almost impossible to be objective, because anything that has to do with us, you're not going to be objective about yourself. Because there's emotions involved, because now it's scary, whatever it is you're struggling with, whether it's a health issue or a mental health issue or a learning disability or neurodivergent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. One of the issues that I do have, though, is that.
Oh, I forgot. Okay.
They can't, a neurotypical is not going to, like, the things we see. Okay, here's an example. Autistics lack empathy. Well, that's a neurotypical observation. We appear to lack empathy to neurotypicals,
Right.
but the experience of a neurodivergent on the spectrum who doesn't appear empathic, it's that we feel too much,
Right.
and it's the best we can do to keep from
Now,
exploding from empathy for me.
true.
And I need a poker face. I need to not just
Yeah.
you know, it's too much
Well,
feeling. It causes a little bit of a shutdown almost.
yeah. Well, there are some autistic, and I noticed that they were guys. And there's two other things that some autistic people have that you may not have. So there are some that actually, part of their autism is that they actually don't care about emotions. They just want to do what they think is right, and they don't care. And that's part of theirs. And that's okay too, because that's just how they roll. And then you have people who our processing is slower, right? So we might experience an argument or a thing that happens with a group of friends, or a thing happens at work, and we're just like, what's going on? It might take a week or a couple nights sleeping on something before we can process it and realize what happened. And that's not even counting the fact that we perceive things differently. So we might not get the unwritten social rules. So I don't know if I understand what you're saying, that there is the double empathy thing too, for people who
I don't
feel
even
too
know what that
much.
means. I don't know what double empathy means. I think though, hold on, I think back up
It's
just a
what you're
couple
saying.
steps. Back up a couple steps because like I think the spectrum issue of like, okay, there's empathy, but then there's the black and white thinking, the literal thinking, and
Yeah,
that I don't like interrupted with emotion. Like you, when you're telling someone and giving them data,
right.
that's not an emotional situation. It's facts, it's data, right?
Yeah,
And I think I totally get that part of it. And for me specifically, that can make it seem like I'm not being, like in a conversation, it can seem like maybe I'm not being very empathic because I'm talking about
right,
facts instead of feelings.
right. But I can definitely see why some neurotypical people might say that. And
Yeah.
there are a subset of people who have autism. I think they tend to, and this isn't all engineers. So my dad was an engineer, but it's funny. I have a friend of mine, and her partner, he has autism, and we've had these discussions. She thinks she might have ADHD. I can't remember if she was diagnosed with autism or not. And she has told me she thought I might have autism. I have ADHD. So this is before I started talking to people on YouTube. So these were like the first people that I could talk to in this desert that I always felt like a weirdo. I didn't know anybody like me, right? Every now and then I might meet someone with ADHD, but that doesn't mean they were like me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really cool. And he actually will tell me, he's like, I don't care if I hurt your feelings. And I'll just straight up tell you, I care about the truth, and I care about what's right. And I'm not going to follow rules just because you tell me that this is what's expected of me at a job. And if you don't like it, I will go somewhere else. And he is honest about it. So that, to somebody who doesn't know him, I could see as being perceived as rude, because there's unwritten social rules in the neurotypical. Like, it's all about people's feelings first, right?
Yeah.
Which I guess the messages I got growing up is, that's so rude. How do you react that way? Go say you're sorry. And so then I was like always hyper focusing on like, what's their mood? Am I doing something right? And so that's probably part of why I'm like feeling people out, and maybe I'm more, I don't know. It's kind of interesting to me. We have so many different brains. But
Well, they
another
say
thing,
there's a saying that goes, and this applies to ADHD too, I'm sure as well. When you've met one autistic, you've met one
exactly.
autistic.
Yeah, I felt different from when I did this, when I was part of this ADHD group, that I had to be on a waiting list to go to it. Did I tell you about it? That it was 6 weeks, and each week we went over.
No.
Oh, it was awesome. So this was through my health insurance. So I would go to whoever has ADHD. If you want to learn more about it, go to if you're seeing a counselor, a licensed clinical social worker, a psychiatrist, psychologist, ask if within that hospital system or within the health insurance you have, if they have any ADHD groups. This particular one, this was just one person who started it on her own, and she used to help children who have ADHD. But now she realized, hey, there's a lot of adults who are getting diagnosed later in life, and they're learning about this stuff too. So she started it for older adults as well. And I've actually had known about it for a few years, but before COVID, there wasn't at least with this particular healthcare system, this particular hospital system, you would have to travel to this place because they only did it in this one location. And I wasn't willing to travel an hour every week to get there and then an hour back. It just wasn't feasible. I have an old car. I'm not going to do that. So I never did it. And then once COVID came and I found out from my counselor, my prescriber, that, hey, they do it virtually now. I'm like, sign me up. So I was on a waiting list for it. And there were 15 slots, 15 people. So they would do this one class of 15 and they would fill up and they would take part in it. So 15 patients or people who have ADHD. And then when that was over, they'd start another group. And when you're in the group, she is a counselor as well. And it's somewhere halfway between, it's not really a support group and it's not really class. It's a kind of a little bit of both. But it's mostly, they call it like a psychological education or something. So the first week, and I think it was like an hour and a half, or was it an hour? I can't remember. So each week we went over a different topic. And this is where I learned about different areas this is where I first learned about different areas of the brain. And so this is the first week we went over the anatomy of the brain of an ADHD person and how it functions differently, like physically our brain, how it functions differently and why we have these symptoms. And that I think is really important to have for a first week. So you can see, hey, I'm not imagining this. It's not that I'm not trying hard enough. I have this thing and it's not necessarily in my control. You just have to learn to work with it and do the best you can. And you can learn some tools. Then the next week, maybe we went over executive functioning and learn what executive dysfunctioning meant. And then she would kind of explain it and she gave us maybe she'd play a video a really good one would be from YouTube that would kind of go through it so you understood what it was.
That's
and
great.
How it showed up. And then each one of us towards the end, each one of us had like 2 or 3 minutes because they didn't have enough time to really have all of us talk with 15 of us. We would say, we would have a little time to reflect and maybe she would separate us into groups. I don't know how she did it. It was kind of like this. It was like Zoom. It might have been Zoom. She separated us into groups and we could talk amongst ourselves to say, what executive functioning issue did I struggle with this week? And then we come back and we would discuss it. And that helps us to start reflect like, maybe some people have that issue. Maybe some people don't have it as much because we're each a little different. And then the next week we would talk about emotional regulation. And she talked about the limbic system in our brain and how us having sometimes with ADHD, you can have trouble regulating your emotion. And it wasn't just because you're expending all this energy trying to work on time, trying to focus, although that's part of it because you're going to be exhausted and frustrated. And so maybe your nerves are also, I always thought that's what it was. But the whole difference in your brain with the ADHD, that's part of it. That limbic emotional section in your brain is affected by how it's working differently. So some people really have trouble and they just like fly off the handle so that we could see, that's why this is happening to me. Maybe I can learn more about this and figure out how to rein that in. So at least you're not thinking you have bipolar or you think you're crazy or this, that. So then you can start to learn and figure out like which aspects do you struggle with more? Because we were each a little bit different. There were some things that were the same. So we did the anatomy of the brain. Then we did executive dysfunction. We did emotional regulation. And I can't at this moment remember what the other ones were, but there was 3 others. I can't remember, but I will dig up my homework. And I did reach out an email because we kind of traded emails. Some of us were going to try to continue to keep meeting because it was 6 weeks and then it was over. And some of the people in the group were newly diagnosed, and some people like me already knew, and I already had these chart systems that saved my life. But here I was going on the information that I absorbed 25 years ago. And there's all this new information I had no clue about. I'm like, oh, that's why I do that? I had no idea that certain things were because of my ADHD, because they didn't know back then. But I didn't think they were going to teach me anything new. But I learned all this stuff. So I thought that was really helpful. So I was thinking one series of videos, I'm going to do like, and I was just talking to my counselor today. I see her on Tuesdays. And I haven't seen her a lot this past month. And we're kind of like getting back to being on schedule again, which is good because I need to get back to my planner because I'm a hot mess. I do need a routine, and it is so hard. So yeah.
Now, is a routine, is that an issue because of executive function and ADHD, or is that...
For me,
It
it's
is,
both.
okay.
Well, two things.
Well, the reason I
for
ask
me
is because, there are definitely aspects of you that seem autistic to me, but I don't know all the overlapping things,
Yeah. From what I understand, executive functioning, which is the analysis paralysis, or if you're paralyzed by, let's say you get anxiety and you try to force yourself to think straight and all of a sudden your brain shuts off, that's part of executive dysfunction.
Yeah.
But a lot of the executive dysfunction are frontal lobe jobs. That's what they do. And so that's like the secretary. The CEO is us. We want to go live our life, do our things, do X, Y, and Z. But things we take for granted, from basic stuff to how we get ready in the morning, we think we're just going to go and do it. And we don't realize, hey, you're getting the outfit, you're pressing the outfit. What could you do the night before? What's the most important thing? What's not the most important thing? Oh, here's my things to do list. And I have all of these things, and I got to take my kids here, and I got to attend this meeting, and they need me to do this at work, and my family needs me to do this. So the average neurotypical person their executive functioning is working fine. They can just look at it and go, oh, this is important, and I don't need to worry about these right now. I'll deal with them later. Right. So that's a secretary. If you think about, I thought that was such a good analogy, and I can't remember if I learned it from this group, but I thought that was brilliant. Because imagine if you're in a company and there's all these problems, all these people want to come to the CEO. The CEO can't see everybody all at once. The CEO runs everything, but the secretary is there to say, you're not important right now. He's having an important meeting. You wait your turn. And she will know what's important, and she can filter some of that out. And that also goes for long-term planning, time management. But a lot of it, the executive functioning is when you don't know what's most important and you get paralyzed because you want to do everything. This is a huge ADHD thing. Now, I have read that autistic people can have this as well. So
I do have executive function issues. It's like I can think about it at some points, I can make a list, but then when it comes to actually doing it, my brain just like flatlines.
It shuts off. Yes. Yeah, that's it. And so that's the part. Imagine if you were you went into the secretary's office, which is in between that and the CEO. The CEO runs the company, and that's us. That's pretty much us living our life. Well, we have to figure out what's more important because we can't do everything. So there is a grid that my counselor showed me, and I'm definitely going to put that either in the community section. I'm probably going to post it on there. And it is, I think it's for companies. It's like a time management grid. But it has like the 4 quarters. It's on my phone. So
the quadrants. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People?
I don't think it's from that, but it might be. I used to have that book. I don't know if I ever read it, but I know what you're talking about. But this is basically, let's say I have 5 overwhelming things to do. I have to contact student loans. Well, I've gone 6 months and I haven't paid my student loans. Okay. I have to get a doctor. I haven't had a doctor in 8 years. Okay. I have to apply for a new job. What steps do I have to take? Well, I got to get an interview outfit. I got to get a resume. Okay, what are the steps for that? Boom. And then especially if you go to clean out your mess like me, and I go downstairs and I'm like, I'm just going to start sorting. And in my head, it seems easy. And I get down there and I'm like, what's the most important thing? That part of your brain that decides what's the most important thing. What's the important things to keep? What's the important things to throw out? I don't know.
See, I'm really good at that stuff.
Yeah. So basically, the priority grid helps you, it gives you some criteria. And it tells you, okay, is this time sensitive? Is there
urgent and important?
But it also equates with how serious are the consequences if I don't do this by XYZ time. Yeah. And then these particular types of activities go in this quadrant, and then eventually the last quadrant is the stuff that we tend to escape in. It's all the escapism stuff. It's spending our time playing games on our phone. Stuff that's like the time wasters.
That's not urgent and not important.
Not urgent. So what do we do when we're overwhelmed? We want to feel better because when you're stressed out, your brain shuts off. And so technically, that's your subconscious trying to self-medicate you. You don't realize it, and then you can become addicted to the games because, first of all, you do have the fear, you do have the anxiety because you did have the difficulty. And especially if you've had this experience chronically for years and you have your family going, why can't you just do it? Which is my situations. And I'm like, I don't know. And then so you just like, what's wrong with me? I'm stupid, I'm lazy, I'm crazy. And it's not. And doing this, figuring it out, and I actually found brain scans. They showed, so you can see the difference between a neurotypical brain and an ADHD brain. And the autism brain was slightly different too, but it was a different pattern. And we can look that up too. But interestingly, the scan of the ADHD brain at rest, the frontal lobes, that's right here, this already had lower blood flow, lower activity than the regular person. We've got lower dopamine, which it probably needs to do its job. That's like trying to run a car with no gas. You can't will it to happen. That's like trying to get someone to regulate their sugar if they can't even make insulin, if they have type 1 diabetes. If you don't got it, you don't got it. So now these are like, I'm not working. And then once your emotions and your stress comes in, so the other one was when you're trying. So they would take a neurotypical person and an ADHD person, and they hook all these things up, and they did the brain scan of at rest, and then they did the brain scan when they were both having them try to do something challenging that they actually have to pay attention to. The neurotypical brain, him trying and him not at rest, it was like a baseline. It was better than us, but it was still, and then him trying, more blood flow went there. Now for ADHD, it was the opposite. As soon as you're trying, they show like, it looked like holes. There weren't actual physical holes. The holes represented areas that had less blood flow. It did the opposite. It shut off. So yeah, if that happens to you, anybody has ADHD, you're not insane, you're not crazy. So I'm gonna try to figure out, maybe since we have control only of certain things, I'm gonna try to think of some hacks for us. Maybe there can be some tricks, like some meditative little thing to just kick ourselves out of the anxiety state, to kind of let it drain down. So then we can think again. Like grounding.
Remember when you were having a problem and you're like, I don't want to go do my classes, and I'm like, I give you permission not to do it. You're like, but I want to do it.
Yeah, I did.
And it changed. Yeah. It kind of changed your perspective.
I still did it. It's like I wanted to have it accomplished. I didn't want to do the work.
The doing. I mean, I'm at that point right now where the steps of all the things that I need to do just to accomplish one dumb thing is just like, I just want to be. I don't want to do all these little stupid.
It's harder.
All through
it's harder. Right.
You do one thing. You want to just eat lunch. It's a bunch of steps. And now you want to do this other thing. It's a bunch of steps. And I'm like, oh, no more steps.
So what are the things do you find that stress you out the most of a daily activity? Is it getting ready for certain tasks, like doing a job, or is it like the stuff like that bogs you down, like the daily cleaning?
No, I'll tell you exactly one thing that really, really, really bugs me. is when I sit down to start a project or do anything, and it's like, oh, I forgot my glasses. I've got to get up and get my glasses. And then I sit down and I'm ready to, oh, I forgot my thing. Oh, now I've got to pee.
Oh,
Oh, now I've got to do this.
yes.
Oh, now I've got to do that.
Yes.
And it's like that process of doing
It
something.
keeps distracting you.
And it's like, why is it so hard?
Sometimes our subconscious that doesn't want to do that does that to sabotage us, because back in our brain, you're like, we don't want to do it. So the subconscious is like, oh, you want to get a snack. You want to do this. So I used to try to
if I sit down to just like, let me see who's doing a YouTube live right now. Oh, I've got to pee. Oh, I don't have my glasses. Oh, I don't have my this. Oh, I don't have my that. It's like,
I got an idea. Maybe if you build in 10 minutes before you start any task and make, I got a hack for you.
Yay.
So
and I
got a hack for you.
What?
So make a list sometime today or tomorrow if you want to try. Think of the things that you tend to forget that distract you. If there's like a list of specific things like getting up to pee, you need a snack. For me, when I would try to sit down to study in college, it's almost like if I had been out of school for a few years, I had to relearn how to make myself learn, because it was almost like my muscles shriveled up and I had to learn to work it again, and it hurt. So I would think of every excuse not to do it. It was so painful to even think about it. It would stress me out. So I started to think, okay, what is every single thing that I do when I don't want to do this? What is anything that I'd rather do that might distract me or tempt me? And I'm like, snacks. I'll bribe myself with sugar. I gained weight, but I would put anything, a salty snack. I would get my coffee. I'd have my water. I try to think of everything that could possibly tempt me, and I make sure they're all right there.
Yes, I started doing that yesterday. Yesterday and today, I was like, okay, let's make sure I've got everything before I push the button.
Did it work?
Yeah.
Did it help take away some of the stress?
Yes.
Nice.
Now that's for my live streams. But then when I'm not really thinking about it that much, and I'm like, let me just see who's live, and I plop down, I'm like, oh, I can't see. I need my glasses. And
then you forget.
Because I kind of keep my couch in recliner position, it's hard to climb in and out of there, so that makes it even worse.
Sometimes it takes forever to get comfortable, and then once you're comfortable, you don't want to get up.
So I brought my chair back out here. Joey's still sleeping, but I bought him a chair. It's not here yet, but I bought him. Ooh, my mascara is running.
No,
I just need to say something because we're gonna.
I can't see it.
Okay, good. We're gonna end this pretty soon. I just want to say if they're still watching, the people in the chat that I put in timeout, when we're doing a live like this and we're talking about a topic,
we might not look at.
We're not really looking at the chat, but I'm looking for questions about the topic. So I had to put certain people in timeout who were off topic and just kept spamming and spamming and spamming. There's some people that I can't even see. I can't, like, DD. I can't see his chats. I don't know why. I don't think I did anything, and then Manesh was asking about, and it's like,
sometimes
we're on topic right now. When I come on my live by myself, that's when I like to chit chat with my chatters. But if I'm on a topic, or if we're doing
it's like we're here doing a job.
We're really trying to stay on topic. And these are videos that are going onto Sherry's channel for her. So that's why I have put certain people in timeout, because we're trying to stay on topic. So sorry about that, guys. But and Sherry, we're at 39 minutes right now. I know it seems like 5.
Again.
I know.
Is this the second time for 40 minutes? Wow.
Yeah. So I don't, like I said, I don't want to burn you out. I know you had a little bit of a kind of funky day
yesterday, and I just am like, ugh.
Yeah. And I want you to go ahead, and take your break, because these lives can burn you out without you realizing it.
Curtis is going to help me figure out how to I have so much stuff in my phone, guys. I've been trying to edit photos. Videos, and I have all these things that I want to put on my phone. My channel, and I can't.
It's just
He's going to help me.
allow yourself that learning curve. I totally get it.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get my microphone and everything set up for quite some time now, so
I'm so frustrated. I
I
just want
know.
to do the thing. I have it. I want to put it there. I said I was
I
going to do
know.
it in a day. I recorded it. I was supposed to post it yesterday, and it's.
I do love the idea of you kind of creating videos that deliver the similar information that you got week by week in your counseling sessions that
Yeah,
really helped you understand, because I've never done anything like that. And it might be really helpful
exactly.
for autism, because I'm just going around and watching content
Right,
and
right,
learning bit by bit. But if there was like a structured thing where it's like, this week we're going to talk about executive function, this week we're going
right.
to talk about this, because then I'd be like,
Yeah,
oh, I do that. I didn't know I did that. Or no, I
right.
don't think I really do that. Like, I didn't think I had stims. I have stims.
I
I
do.
didn't think I had stims. I
I do.
stim.
I'm doing this right now, like and I'm like rocking.
Now, is stimming an ADHD thing too?
Yeah, I found out they both do it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I don't know for autism. Actually, it is autism. Some people with autism, and I did find that this about ADHD, and I know that we want to go, but I do want to mention this to see if anybody does want to talk about this sometimes. This is a personal topic, as some people may not want to talk about it, but there's certain OCD type behaviors that some people with either or both autism or ADHD might have, such as
Comorbids.
trichotillomania. There's one girl, and I
Is
can't
that
remember
hair
her name.
pulling?
Hair pulling, and you don't know why you're
My
doing it.
mom used
It's
to do
called
that.
body. Is it body focused repetitive behavior? It's like BFRB,
Skin
and
picking?
skin picking,
Nail biting?
nail biting. And I have the skin picking, and I just
I
figured it
do.
was something from teenagehood that I never out. Do you bite your nails?
I
And
usually
so,
just bite them to keep them short, but the past few days I bit my thumbnail way too short.
yeah, I don't have that, but I will pick. And then I
Yeah, I do.
found,
Yeah. I used to skin pick a lot.
and I'm like,
Um,
why? Why am I
I
doing this? It's
noticed,
a stim. It's a stim.
well, I noticed that when I wear shorts and I feel
You,
one little stupid bump on my legs,
you're gonna
I'm like,
scratch
ooh,
at it.
bump. And then it
You try to
becomes,
scratch it.
well, I try to,
Mm-hmm.
it's got to leave, it has to go. And so then now it's not just a bump, now it's like a little scab. And so I just wear pants or skirts.
Some people can't stop, and it is so bad. It's like such a compulsion that they'll
Yeah.
actually dig holes in their skin, and they'll do it in their legs. Luckily for me, it's just my face or like my ears.
Just.
Um, but yeah, I've been starting to get ear infections from it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
why? I don't understand why I do it.
I just thought it was kind of like a nervous habit or
It kind of
something,
is. It's
but
like
it's for
people with
me.
OCD have it, and then people who are neurodivergent have it. I noticed that I do it when when I'm under stress or
Yeah.
if I'm very tired. And luckily, the last couple weeks has only been 1 or 2 days a week, but there have been weeks when, like, I literally am covering wounds on my face.
Yeah.
And I've gotten very good at covering so you can't tell. But then it's this vicious cycle because you're putting all this product and now all your pores are open. And then when you wash it off, you have all these little cosmetics
Right.
in, and then you're doing it more. So
Well, I also
I did.
learned like a 10 times magnification mirror is not healthy for me.
I know. But then I have to tweeze my eyebrows, man. What am I going to do? So I've gone back and forth
I
between
know.
trying to hide it from myself, and I'm like, I just go and grab it again because I'm like, I got to tweeze my eyebrows.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
cute.
can't use a razor blade up here.
Well, they
I'm
do
all about
have
being
those.
groomed.
They do have those little kind of razory little
I
fluff
scratch.
removers.
I
You
scratch
have to,
myself. I
well,
started
because you
using an
have to put a
actual razor
serum
blade.
on. You have to put a serum or a castor oil
Oh.
on, and then you do it on top of that, so it
But I'm
glides
so clumsy. Like, I'll turn it the wrong way, and the
and
little
cut
angle at the
yourself.
end cut myself.
Me
So
too.
I
I've
just
done
started
that.
using. Yeah, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get dollar store razors. I don't care.
Yeah, do it.
I just
Oh, yeah.
spray like a face spray, I mean, really, I thought the only difference between those little blades and a razor blade is I was thinking maybe they're doing it this way for girls so they don't feel like they're shaving their
Right.
face.
I
Maybe
think
they
that's
don't
what
feel
it
like a
is.
guy. I'm like, well, I'm in perimenopause and I'm starting, I want to stay a girl. Like, I don't want stuff growing on my face.
No.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, TMI.
Well, whatever about these guys. They're acting badly today, I'm sorry to say, but I had to put a bunch of people in timeout. So
Guys,
I think
can
we
I
need to
just
cut it off.
say,
Huh?
can I just say to anybody who is here, we're flattered if anybody thinks that we're pretty or nice in your compliments. We appreciate it. I know I myself am in a relationship, so
There's a limit.
I love that you guys appreciate it, but it will make me uncomfortable if people start asking for how tall I am. If they want me to stand up, if they want to check my body out, please don't. I'm too old for that. There's lots of girls that you can do. I am here to help people because I've had these problems and I've struggled. I'm not here to do that. And I don't want anyone to be offended, but if we say this, maybe they'll understand why we get little, it's uncomfortable. It's like awkward.
It's unacceptable behavior.
It feels very,
Actually,
yeah, it feels very kind of,
clearly in
and there's
this
a
video, we're
culture
not.
difference.
No, I mean,
That's
people
not
know
okay
better.
in our culture. Well, the guys will just kind of hide it from us. They don't tell us because they know we'll
But
get
enough
upset.
about them. Enough about
Well,
them.
I figured if we just bring it up, then they'll know, and then we don't have to acknowledge it.
Yeah. It's all about appropriateness and being gentlemanly and, just don't spam the chat asking people to stand up and turn around or show your dress or whatever.
No.
That's not what we're here to do today. And
We
so
will.
there are other creators who do that, and you're welcome to go there. And it looks like everybody's gone. It's just you and me anyway. So
we will accept if people treat us the way you want your mother treated,
right,
the way you want your sister treated. That's it.
Yeah. So I think that's great for today. That's 46 minutes. And I think this will make another good video for you because we talked about how to be careful with any kind of meds. And I think that's really important. And you can cut a bunch of pieces from this video and you'll have a lot of content from today too.
Yeah, I was trying to do that. I have to get all this. It wasn't letting me. I found the perfect clip on the one that you and I did last time, and it was perfect. I already decided, and I kind of figured out the exact minute and seconds for that clip, and it was like less than a minute. And then when I went to do it, it said I didn't have enough room. So I tried to change it to a lower quality, and I was waiting. It was taking forever to download. And when I went and checked back, it had turned itself off. And I'm like, no.
It's going to take up a lot of space on your phone. I mean, that's a huge, huge file. So you're going to have to delete basically all your other pictures and videos on your phone. Or not
I'm thinking,
edit
should I just start downloading all the stuff and do it on my computer? Is there more space on a computer?
Yeah, your computer even, you want to get a hard drive like this.
An extra one just for this?
Yeah. Get an external hard drive so your computer is running quickly because it's really frustrating when your computer's bogged down and you're trying to edit too. Same thing. So just make sure, like, save all your big files on here and then just, it's safe too. If anything happens to your computer, you've still got all your videos because you can use these videos and turn them into digital content that you sell.
Yes. Oh.
Digital courses that you sell. If you go to my Patreon, you'll see I have digital courses for sale and like Smart American Kids, digital course for sale. Yeah, I have the digital course for sale about gluten-free stuff. I don't think I have anything actually on my GeNeVieVe for sale just yet. But yeah, you want to take the gems, put it together and sell it as a digital course. Or just like write a script and record it, sell it as, even if it's 30 minutes and you sell it for $3. That's going to start generating for you. So just keep that in mind. And I'd love to do another video about this topic too, because one of the best topics
so much
on
to learn.
YouTube, one of the best topics on YouTube is how to monetize, how to make videos, and being beginners.
And yeah, we're spending so much time and energy, and then I mean, it's almost like it could easily become not only its own full-time job, but like two full-time jobs, and you don't get paid for it. And it's like, what? I'm going to have like 500 people and thousands of hours. How many years is that going to take?
Yeah.
Who
Well,
would work for free?
That's also why certain producers or certain creators, if they have the budget to do so, they just make the video and then send it to their editor and they make the whole video for them. So
they're
like
monetized by then though, right?
Huh?
But they're making money at that point. So they have enough that they can pay them.
For example, you got trad moms and people are like, there's no way. YouTubing is a full-time job. Well, you don't think she's editing her own videos, do you? She's wealthy. She's got a breadwinner. So she makes the video herself and then sends it to her editor and it's done. The editor will even post it. The editor or whoever, you might have 2 or 3 people working with you if you've got money, right? So yeah, if you are coming on here to monetize, to place a job, then it might take you a little bit before you're able to take some of that monetization and hire an editor. It's kind of a catch-22 though, because the better your videos, the more people, but
I'm just going to kind of play it by ear and just ease into it so I don't give up and quit because I'm overwhelmed.
Thank you for the like, whoever just did that. Thank you.
Yay. And then see how it goes. And you know what? Going through this process, it helps me to know what other people are struggling with because it's validating for me. It helps me feel better. And me sharing these things is helping me as well because I have to start doing these things again.
Yeah.
So might as well, if other people struggling with the things that I am, like I'm starting my planner again this week. Yesterday I filmed a video explaining the whole system.
Oh, good.
Now I can't load it up because it's stuck in my phone. And then I realized that I got I'm going to have to cut it because I didn't realize there was mail on the counter with my address on it. So I'm like, okay.
Okay, now,
can you blur that out?
Yeah, if you had Canva, you could just remove the background completely, although it only does certain length of videos. But what you could do is take a little sticker or a logo or a smiley face and just put it, move it on the video right where that is or something like that, or crop the video closer on your face. But yeah, that's a concern.
Because I kind of had the book was covering it. And then I moved it to the side for a second. And so you only see it for a second, but then I pause it and it's kind of blurry, but I'm like, not that I think that people will be going out of their way trying to find me, but at the same time,
hey,
do I want that out there?
No, you don't want that out there. It is, and I probably reveal way too much. If someone really wanted to, they could find me probably, and then they would be met with hellfire and
your dogs
and hell dogs. So they can bring it. But
I want to, And you know what? If you get 2 people who survive the trauma of growing up, being picked on, being bullied, and not just by kids, but also by teachers and adults and everybody and bosses, by the time you're an adult like us, if we deal with any bullshit, the rage will come.
Oh my God, girl. We could talk about that a whole other video.
I went off on, I used to track stalkers, and I went off on one. He was not expecting that.
Yeah, stalkers.
He's not expecting that.
So let's end it here. Thank you guys for being here.
Manifest the positive.
And
we can edit that part out.
This video was basically we started off by discussing how neurodivergence can stay safe while
with
taking
medicine,
any sort of medication at all. Understanding that there are
read the directions,
very easily overdose, and so we wanted to address that. Sherry helped me to understand exactly what I needed to take, how often, and everything for my specific situation. So maybe this will help some of you. And Sherry's channel is Lady Phoenix _111.
And if it doesn't work, I think that what's happening is when we give it to people on the actual channel, it's all undercase.
Oh,
but
I don't think that matters.
I didn't think so either. But when I typed it, when you do the uppercase L and the uppercase P, that will work.
Oh, okay. Maybe it does matter. So
Yeah.
check that out. Subscribe. She needs a few more subscribers before she can do her own lives, which we're
I would
really
like that.
excited about. And I
Yeah.
love that by the time you go live, you're going to be so comfortable with going live.
I hope so. Well, I'm
From
comfortable.
this.
I feel like we're chit-chatting and it's fun for
So
me.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you're engaging with the chat, you know, it's
Yeah.
now you're like really comfortable doing that. And I've seen other creators start live streaming, and just like myself, it's a little weird at first. You don't, and then after a while you're like, okay, it's normal. So we appreciate you all being here, and
Yay.
we'll see you again.
Bye. Have a great
Bye.
day.
Bye.